Hello viewers, here in front of you H.M. Kalita, Senior Faculty Member of Kalita Residential IS Coaching Academy, GoI. Today's discussion again from Assam history. Today we are going to discuss about Government of India Act 1935. We are going to discuss Government of India Act 1935 and formation of ministries in Assam. We are going to discuss about the formation of Sadula Ministry and then formation of first Border Ministry in Assam. So we'll discuss first Government of India Act, those features of Government of India Act 1935. Then we'll go Sadula Ministry, and at the last we'll discuss about the first Border Ministry. Following the third round table conference, held towards the close of the year 1932. Following the third roundtable conference held towards the close of the year 1932, the third roundtable conference was also attended by small members of representatives from India. The British government drafted those proposals from the third roundtable conference in order to reform the Indian Constitution, and those drafted proposals were embodied in a white paper which was published in 1933 March. The third roundtable conference held in close of the year 1932, attended by small number of representatives from India, and in that roundtable conference, third roundtable conference, government drafted proposals for reform of Indian Constitution, and those drafted proposals were embodied in a white paper which was published in March 1933. A joint committee consists of the members of both houses of British Parliament examined the white paper and suggested certain modification. The government then made a joint committee consist of members of both houses, and they examined the white paper. That white paper comprises of proposals of reform of the Indian Constitution, and those proposals were examined by those joint committee, and those members suggested certain modification on that white paper. And then a bill was prepared on the basis of the report with slight alteration, and finally became the Government of India Act 1935. On the basis of that white paper, which was examined by the joint committee of the both houses, joint committee consisting of the members of both houses, and they suggested certain modification, and on the basis of that white paper with certain modification, a bill was prepared, and the bill was prepared with certain alteration and finally gave the shape of Government of India Act 1935. The Government of India Act 1935 embodied two main principles. The first principle, an All India Federation comprising of the Governor's Province, Chief Commissioner's Province and Federating Indian State. The first point embodied in the Act was an All India Federation comprising first British India territories and the princely states. A All India Federation consists of Governor's Province and Chief Commissioner's Province, that means British India territories, and Federating Indian State, that means those princely states. The Act also provides provincial autonomy with a government, responsible to an elected legislature in every governor's province. Second point, that means they are going to give provincial autonomy to a government, and that government responsible to the elected legislature under every governor's province. The Act also provides abolition of provincial diarchy and introduction of diarchy. They have abolition of provincial diarchy and introduction of diarchy at the center. In that Act of Government of India Act 1935, they put provision for abolition of diarchy, that is provincial diarchy, and introduction of diarchy at the center. The Act also provides abolition of Indian Council and introduction of a advisory body in its position. So, we will come to know those points of Government of India Act 1935. First, the Act embodied two main principles, that is All India Federation comprising of the Governor's Province and Chief Commissioner's Province, that is British India territories, and Federating Indian States, that is princely states. Second point, provincial autonomy with a government responsible on the elected legislature on every governor's province. Then came the abolition of provincial diarchy and introduction of diarchy in the center, and abolition of Indian Council and introduction of advisory body in its place. These are the features of Government of India Act. India Act provides for the provinces like Bengal and Assam. In provinces like Bengal and Assam, the legislature consists of the governor and two chambers. In Assam and Bengal, the legislature consists of governor and two chambers, and those two chambers were Legislative Council or upper house and Legislative Assembly or lower house. In case of Assam and Bengal, the legislature consists of governor and two houses, that is Legislative Council upper house and Legislative Assembly lower house. In case of Assam, upper house was thrust upon at the instance of the government under pressure from the European planters and the commercial concerns. In case of Assam, the upper house, that is Legislative Council, was thrust upon at the instance by the government under pressure from the European planters and the commercial concern. In case of Assam, the Legislative Assembly consists of 108 members, all elected, and its tenure is 5 years, but it could be dissolved earlier by the governor. The Legislative Assembly of Assam consists of 108 members, all elected, and its tenure is 5 years, though it could be dissolved earlier by the governor also. The Legislative Council or the upper house was a permanent body, but 1/3 of its members were to retire every third year. The Legislative Council was a permanent body. 1/3 of its members were to retire every third year. And the Legislative Council, that upper house, consists of 22 members. Out of those 22 members, 18 were elected and rest, that is 4 members, were nominated. This is all about the Assam's legislature. The electorate for both the council and assembly was formed on the basis of communities and interest according to the terms of the communal award as modified by the Pune Pact. The electorate for the upper house and the lower house was formed on the basis of communities and on interest according to the terms of the communal award, which was of course modified by the Pune Pact. As a result, the number of electorates in Assam expanded almost 3 times between 1929 to 1937. Between 1929 to 1937, the electorate increased by 3-fold. The number of electorates also increasing from 2,88,832 from 1929 to 8,15,341 in 1937. But the Government of India Act left the hill areas outside the scope of the provincial autonomy as before. The new act, that is Government of India Act 1935. This time also the act left the hill areas of the Assam outside the scope of provincial autonomy as before. The hill areas were classified into 2 categories. The hill areas were classified into 2 categories. Those 2 categories were excluded area and partially excluded area. Balipara and Hodia frontier tract. Balipara and Hodia frontier tract, the Naga Hills district, the Lusai Hills district and North Kasar Hills subdivision were classified as excluded area. Under excluded area, Balipara and Hodia frontier tract, the Naga Hills district, the Lusai Hills district and the North Kasar Hills subdivision were put in excluded area, and those excluded area left unrepresented in the legislature. Administration of those excluded area was vested solely in the hands of governor. Governor is the sole authority in case of administration of those excluded area of Balipara and Hodia frontier tract, the Naga Hills district, the Lusai Hills district and North Kasar Hills subdivisional area. So, governor is the main administrator and all powers are vastly in the hands of governor. On the other hand, the Garo Hills district, the Khasi Jaintia Hills district excluding Shillong, the Mikir Hills district classified as partially excluded area. Partially excluded area included Garo Hills district, the Khasi Jaintia Hills district excluding Shillong and Mikir Hills were put under partially excluded area. These partially excluded areas enjoyed franchise to elect members to the legislature. In case of excluded area, they are left unrepresented on the legislature, whereas in case of partially excluded area, the area enjoyed franchise to elect members to the legislature. The Government of India Act 1935 did not provide for a full-fledged responsible government. The governor was provided with veto powers. The governor had veto powers over all acts of the legislature. Governor is the all in all because he had the veto powers over all acts of the legislature. The governor could even take over the administration of the province to his own hand whenever he thought that there was a breakdown of constitution. The same today happening in case of governor's rule. Governor rule, same thing. The article 356 of today is also same. So the governor could overtake over the administration of the province to his own hands whenever he thought that there was a breakdown of constitution. Moreover, as 9 seats were allotted to the province less than 3,000 European population. Less than 3,000 European population had got the 9 seats. 9 seats were allotted to less than 3,000 European population, against the 4 seats allotted to the resident plantation population, which numbered around 1 million, which numbered around 10 lakhs. It is a very big number. 10 lakhs. For 10 lakhs, the Act provided only 4 seats. The Congress accepted the reforms introduced by the Act with a view to wrecking the Constitution from within. The Congress ready to go to the Assembly, and they will wreck the whatever they are within from the Assembly. Accordingly, general elections were held in February 1937 throughout the country. Throughout the country, general elections were held in February 1937. In the election, Congress tried to rise above narrow orbit of communalism and field Muslim candidates in different constituencies. In elections, Congress tried to rise above the narrow politics of communalism, and that is why they fielded Muslim candidates in different constituencies. But communal award deepening separatist tendencies among the Muslims. There was a separatist tendencies among the Muslims because of the communal award. The All India Muslim League organizing communal propaganda. The Muslim League organizing communal propaganda and organizational defects wrecking the Congress. The Muslim League played the communal card. As a result, there was a defect in the organizational work of the Congress. Nawab of Dhaka visited Nagaon of Assam and asked the immigrant Muslim to cast their votes in favor of Muslim candidates. The Nawab of Dhaka came to Nagaon and asked those Muslim voters to cast their vote in favor of only Muslim candidates. And even no Muslim candidate could be persuaded to stand the election on Congress ticket. Not only he asked those Muslim voters to vote only to a Muslim candidate, the Nawab also persuaded to ask those Muslim candidate not to take the seat of the ticket of Congress, and that is why Muslim candidates could not be persuaded. The Congress could not be persuaded Muslim candidate to stand on Congress ticket. No Muslim candidate could be persuaded to stand the election on Congress ticket. Even Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed contested on a independent. Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed stand as an independent candidate. Everywhere in the country, the election results affirm the popularity of Congress. Congress swept the election of February 1937. The Congress Working Committee in its meeting, the Congress Working Committee of INC in a meeting held in March 1937 permitted the formation of ministry in those provinces where the Congress got absolute majority. It was a decision taken by the Congress Working Committee in its meeting held in March 1937, asked those provinces to form the government where they have got the absolute majority, but provided the concerned governors dare assured not to use his veto powers. The Congress on 7 May 1937 formed ministries in seven provinces out of 11 provinces. Congress formed ministry in 7 provinces out of total 11 provinces in the country. This is all about the Government of India Act and the election held in February 1937 and about the results of the election. Now we are coming to formation of ministries in Assam. First we will discuss about the Sadula ministry. Congress in Assam secured 33 seats in a house of 108 seats. The Legislative Assembly of Assam had got 108 seats. Out of that 108 seats, Congress owned only 33 seats. And that is why the Congress had initially not in inclination to form a coalition ministry because Assam leaders considered it a more workable policy not to accept offices but to form a solid bloc of opposition in the assembly. As the Congress secured only 33 seats in a house of 108, those leaders of the Congress wanted to sit in the opposition. They want to form a strong bloc of opposition in the assembly. The governor, Sir Robert Reid, was from the beginning fixing his eyes upon Sir Muhammad Sadullah as the Assam's first chief minister. The governor, Sir Robert Reid, his eyes were always on the Sir Muhammad Sadullah, to see Sir Muhammad Sadullah as the first chief minister. Sadullah then met governor on 15 March 1937. Sadullah met governor on 15 March 1937 and formed the non-Congress coalition ministry, and on 1st April 1937 with the support of European bloc and other tribal and non-tribal members. Sadullah then met governor on 15 March and formed and staked claim to form a ministry. And as he staked claim to form a ministry, governor invited him, and as a result, Sadullah formed his government on 1st April 1937. with the help of your European bloc and other tribal and non-tribal members. Sadullah was born in Assam, 21st May 1885 at Guwahati, did his schooling at Guwahati and then studied in Cotton College. Then he went to Presidency College of Calcutta. He went to Presidency College in Calcutta, and then he was the first chairman of Guwahati municipality body in 1919, and then he became the minister in charge of education and agriculture from 1924 to 1934. So once he was a lawyer, Sadullah once a lawyer in Calcutta High Court, Sadullah also a man of moderate political view, and he had acquired wide administrative experience both as a member and an executive councillor. Already I have talked about those experience he gathered, because he was also a chairman of Guwahati municipalities in 1913, and he was also a minister in charge of education and agriculture of Assam in 1924 to 34. But he was practicing in Calcutta High Court, and he had got enough knowledge on that line. Now, this Sadullah ministry consisted of 5 members, and those 5-member coalition ministry consists of R.K. Chaudhary, Nichols Roy, and 2 Muslim members from the Surma Valley. Sadullah's ministry consisted of R.K. Chaudhary, Nichols Roy, and 2 Muslim members from the Surma Valley. Sadullah had already lost the goodwill of the Muslim members of the other valley, including those of the Muslim League. As you know, Sadullah stood from the Assam United Party in the election held in February 1937. So he lost faith, he lost goodwill from those Muslim members of the other valley as well as from the Muslim League. On the other hand, the opposition consisting of members like Gopinath Bordloi, Deveshwar Sharma, Hiddinath Sharma, Omiyo Kumar Das, very strong word. Weaknesses of the Sadullah ministry was first revealed when the official candidate of the speakership from the Sadullah ministry was defeated by a Congress member candidate, that is B.K. Das. B.K. Das was a member from the Congress, and for the post of speakership, B.K. Das defeated the official candidate from the Sadullah. So, new ministry was first face a defeat in the election of speakership. This Sadullah ministry suffered as many as 11 defeats in the form of cut motion and resolution relating to the matters like implementation of the Local Rates Amendment Bill, providing for reduced local rates and abolition of office of the 2 divisional commissioner. The Sadullah ministry faced as many as 11 defeats in the form of cut motions, and those resolutions relating to the matter implementation of Local Rates Amendment Bill that provides reduced local rates and abolition of the office of 2 divisional commissioners. Congress members, on the other hand, expressed progressive views. Congress member, otherwise they had expressed progressive views very successfully, and successfully they fought for the cases like opium prohibition, reduction of land revenue, and abolition of the upper houses. These are the claims given by your oppositions, members of the Congress, because they have successfully debated in the assembly for the abolition of your upper houses, even for the reduction of opium policies and the taxes to be reduced. In the budget session of Sadullah ministry, in the budget session itself, Sadullah could see that his ministry was going soon to fall. Sadullah is already in the wake of the fall of his ministry, and that is why Sadullah wanted to strengthen his base by obtaining the support of the Muslim members of the Surma Valley. As in the budget session, Sadullah could see its fall, and that is why he wanted to strengthen his base by claiming the support of the Muslim members of the Surma Valley, and that is why he joined the All India Muslim League. Earlier, he was a member of Assam United Party. Now, in order to get the support of Muslim elected members, he joined the All India Muslim League and attended the All India Muslim League conference at Lucknow in October 1937. Now, Sadullah became a member of Muslim League, and that is why he attended the All India Muslim League conference at Lucknow in October 1937. Sadullah, in that conference at Lucknow, committed himself in the conference to asking his Assam Valley Muslim party's men to join the Muslim League. Sadullah committed in the Lucknow session that he will definitely go and ask for those Muslim electorate, those Muslim representative to join the Muslim League. Next, with a view to having the reshuffle of the ministry, because till then Sadullah was from the Assam United Party. He joined in the All India Muslim League on the session at October 1937. That is why he wants to reshuffle his ministry. In order to reshuffle his ministry, Sadullah asked those members of the Surma Valley to resign. In order to reshuffle the ministry, Sadullah asked those Muslim cabinet ministers to resign, to tender their resignation from the ministry. But those two members refused to do so. As a result, Sadullah himself tendered his resignation on 4th February 1938 and to form a new ministry of his choice with a government blessing. Now, Sadullah resigned on 4th February 1938, and then again the following day, 5th February, he formed his new ministry and got the blessings of governor. Sadullah's new ministry was formed on 5th February, that is the very next day of his resignation, and in his new ministry he got Abdul Matin Chaudhry and Munawar Ali, both from the Muslim League, as the minister. R.K. Chaudhry, Nichols Roy and Akshay Kumar Das. Akshay Kumar Das was a scheduled caste as his colleagues. Now the members of old ministry of new ministry of Sadullah consist of Abdul Matin Chaudhry, Munawar Ali, both from the League, R.K. Chaudhry, Nichols Roy and Akshay Kumar Das. Akshay Kumar Das was from the scheduled caste, and those are his colleagues. But in the assembly debate, immediately following his floating very principle of local self-government was so bitterly attacked that Sadullah was compelled to save his face by again tendering his resignation. Sadullah faced the opposition and in the matter related to the principle of local self-government. In that matter, Sadullah faced attack from the opposition, and as a result, Sadullah had to again tender his resignation, and he resigned from his ministry, he resigned from his government from 18 September 1938. Sadullah formed his first ministry in 1st April 1937 and lasted up to 18 September 1938. This is the short period of 1.5 years that Sadullah was in first ministry of Assam. Then situation was now demanded a leader from the Congress to form the new ministry. Election took place February 1937. Then Sadullah formed his first ministry in 1st April 1937 and it lasted up to 18 September 1938. Now situation now demanded a leader from the Congress to form the new ministry. Navin Chandra Bordloi having died in 1936, Kulhara Solia replacing Navin Chandra Bordloi in the central legislature. Tonuram Phukon already defected from the Congress and Omiyo Kumar Das expressing his reluctance to accept the leadership. So there was a crisis in the leadership of Congress. Of course, the leadership crisis was, however, evaded by the choice of a new leader in the person of Gopinath Bordloi. Gopinath Bordloi now became the new leader of Congress because NC Navin Chandra Bordloi died in 1936. He was replaced by Kulhara Solia. Tonuram Phukon already defected from the Congress. Omiyo Kumar Das expressing reluctance. So there was a crisis and ultimately a new leader was there in the person of Gopinath Bordloi. As a leader of opposition, Gopinath Bordloi had been championing the cause of the tribals by demanding the tribal bells and also always pointing out the lack of primary education facility in the tribal and garden areas. As an opposition leader, Gopinath Bordloi always demanding for the tribal belt for the tribals, and also he pointed out for this lack of primary education both in the tribal area as well as in the garden area. So definitely he was championing those activities for the development of tribal as well as for the garden area. Bordloi now achieved a new coalition with the Tribal League and with the help of Surma Valley Congressmen. New ministry to be headed by Gopinath Bordloi, and he got the support from the Tribal League, and from the help he got the support from the Surma Valley Congressmen. Of course, those Surma Valley Congressmen were initiated by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. At that time, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the president of Indian National Congress. So, Bordloi got the support of Tribal League and also got the support from the Surma Valley Congressmen. Meanwhile, some 56 members led by Sadullah made an attempt to prevent the newly formed Bordloi ministry from taking office by staging a no confidence motion against the Bordloi ministry, even though Bordloi had not taken the oath. The no confidence motion was, however, refused to admit by the speaker on technical ground. Gopinath Bordloi about to take the oath. Meanwhile, along with 56 members, Sadullah brought in no confidence motion against the new ministry. The ministry has not taken oath. How come the no confidence motion can be admitted? And on the basis of technical ground, speaker refused to admit that no confidence motion against the Gopinath Bordloi, the ministry going to take place. The Gopinath Bordloi ministry consisted of 5 members. They were: first, Gopinath Bordloi ministry consists of 5 members. They were Kamini Kumar Sondo, 2 scheduled caste members, Ramnath Das and Akshay Kumar Das, and the tribal league leader Rupnath Brahma. The Gopinath Bordloi ministry took office on 19 September 1938. Gopinath Bordoloi Ministry took the office on 19 September 1938 with 5 members in his ministry. Those members were Kamini Kumar Sando, 2 scheduled caste members, Ramnath Das and Akshay Kumar Das, and the tribal league leader Rupnath Brahma. The ministry of Gopinath Bordoloi takes on 19 September 1938. Of course, later on, 3 Muslim members like Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, Ali Haider Khan and Muhammad Ali were also taken oath on 28 October 1938. Bordoloi Ministry assumed office on 19 September along with 5 members, and later on 3 more members in the face of Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, Ali Haider Khan and Muhammad Ali. All together 8 members from the Gopinath Bordoloi Ministry. Gopinath Bordoloi, a devout Gandhian, and possessed certain gift of leadership. Gopinath Bordoloi, a devout Gandhian, and he possessed certain gifts of leadership. Bordoloi could maintain a balance between the national and narrowly Assamese interest. Gopinath Bordoloi, he always takes first the national interest, and also he took narrowly the Assamese interest also. Some items in the programs like progressive eradication of opium, the Gopinath Bordoloi Ministry took some programs like progressive eradication of opium, reduction of land revenue, abolition of the commissioners' establishment. Of course, that was already taken by the Sadullah Ministry. So, the Gopinath Bordoloi Ministry took the initiative, progressive initiative for eradication of opium, reduction of land revenue, and of course the abolition of your establishment, that is abolition of the commissioner's office. Bordoloi in his ministry reduced the minister's pay to 500 rupees per month. Bordoloi in his ministry reduced the minister's pay to rupees 500 per month and made remission and further reduction in land revenue, and also formulated schemes for the improvement of small-scale industries and introduction of reform in the jails. During his tenure, Bordoloi first he reduced the minister's pay to rupees 500. Then he made remission and further reduction in the land revenue. Then formulated schemes for the improvement of small industries. Then introduction of reform in the jails. Further, Bordoloi Ministry passed the Assam Agriculture Income Tax Bill, against which serious opposition came from the planters. This Assam Agriculture Income Tax, which ultimately it was implemented through the Assam Finance Act in 10th August 1939. So, Gopinath Bordoloi Ministry took the Assam Agriculture Income Tax Bill, which later on implemented through the Assam Finance Act as on 10th August 1939. Bordoloi Ministry, however, failed to give a bold and precise stand on the question of line system. About line system, we will discuss in the forthcoming discussion, that is in Quit India movement. So here you just know that Bordoloi Ministry could not take bold and precise decision on the question of line system. Meanwhile, Second World War broke out and India were declared a belligerent. The Second World War took place, and India was declared a belligerent, India was declared a hostile, India was declared unfriendly to the British. As the declared war aims at, the declared war aims and not include the India's independence, the Working Committee of the Congress in its meeting held in Wardha in 22nd October 1939 called upon all the Congress ministers to resign. The World War II broke, and India declared as a belligerent, declared as a hostile, declared as unfriendly India. So that is why, and the British didn't take included the Indian independence. The question of Indian independence was not taken by the British. That is why the Working Committee of the INC that held their session at Wardha in 22nd October 1939, that is why they called upon all the Congress ministry to resign from the government. Then finally the APCC discussed the matter in a meeting held in 7 November 1939 and decided to direct the ministry to tender its resignation not later than 15 November. As directed by the Working Committee of Wardha to resign from the ministry, the matter was taken in a meeting held at 7 November 1939, and then they directed the Assam Gopinath Bardoli ministry to resign not later than 15 November. And finally, Gopinath Bardoli government resigned on 16 November 1939. This all about the Government of India Act 1935 and the formation of ministries in Assam. First ministry formed by Sadula, then second ministry formed by Gopinath Bardoli. Gopinath Bardoli formed in 19 September 1938 and it lasted up to 16 November 1939. About Gopinath Bardoli, Gopinath Bardoli did his schooling in Guwahati. He studied in Cotton College, then went to Scottish Church College in University of Calcutta. He did his BA in 1911, MA in 1914 and did his law in 1917. He worked as Gopinath Bardoli worked as a headmaster in Honaram High School, and Gopinath Bardoli was conferred with the title Lukopriyo, loved by all, by then the governor of Assam, Joyram Das Dolotram. And of course, you know that Gopinath Bardoli was posthumously conferred with the Bharat Ratna in 1999 by then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. This all about the discussion of this Government of India Act 1935, and then the Sadula ministry. The first ministry formed in 1st April 1937. It lasted up to 18 September 1938. Then came the first Gopinath Bardoli ministry that formed in 19 September 1938 and lasted up to 16 November 1939. This all about the discussion. Hope you understand and enjoy the discussion. Thank you.